Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the age-old, actually it's only 1 year, but every 4th of July, putting out a video on MCoC Chavez, all the greatest fights, all the things I've been able to do with her over the year. For those long time viewers know that like I was a massive fan of her from the comics and shows, not so much of the movie, but hey, you know, we've got a chance to improve upon that. And then she came to the game and it was a massive disappointment. And then she got the buff. And I absolutely loved her. I mean, I was doing great things in Battlegrounds. I was like, we've got a Battlegrounds monster, using her in War, SSX, going for Masters, top 10, top 3, and that sort of thing. We're going to talk about everything on how to use her. And then again, these are only fights from the last year. And going to answer the question, because if you've been watching my videos, you know I've been saying, like, I don't think she's the best Mystic anymore, but she's definitely good. Some of you are like, dude, she's still the best Mystic. What are you talking about? We're going to go through, show you how to do all these fights. Hopefully you paid a little bit of attention. I'm going to talk a little bit about that Red Skull fight. What you want to do, because remember, he reduces the ability accuracy of stuns, and one of the main really powerful things about her is that passive stun, right? But he reduces your ability accuracy to do that. So it's really unsafe to go in and try to use the passive stun, but what you can do is still hit really hard. Remember, she for each unique parallel dimension, those are things in the upper left hand corner. And don't worry, we're going to fight 2 serpents. I'll talk about serpent in the second fight more and more. But for each unique parallel dimension, those in the upper left hand corner. Right now I have 3 of them up. Well, and now, yeah, 1 blue, 2 purple. Each buff on the opponent, she's going to gain a massive attack rating at rank 3. That's a 7-star, it's 2,500 attack rating. And if you've got her awakened, you actually get that increased, right? That bonus if you've got all 3 up. You get a bonus to your dimensional energy infusion. I'm going to try not to use her terms as much and keep this simple for everybody so we can just kind of play her. And then at the end of this video, no joke, we're going to see a solo of Wheel of Fate Deathless Thanos with MCoC Chavez, playing her in her way that you've probably never seen me play her before. And you know what? All of the credit goes to none other than Simula. Make sure you subscribe to that man's channel, the guides on the bosses, but not only that, but the champion showcases, the how-tos, all those things. And I'll link him in the description, his channel in the description. Make sure you go subscribe, say hello, and then you're going to get a lot better at this game. Save yourself a lot of units, items, money, the whole thing, and have a great time. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So when you're fighting Red Skull, and then you can throw your specials and you can use your relic to trigger one of your dimensions, right? Because it's when she's coming off of those things and you can trigger the heavy into the relic. It's really beautiful, and you will trigger your dimensions. You're going to see it multiple times in this video. I'll point it out. So here we go. This is a fight, and I wanted to show you that you don't have to be controlling ability power rate. You don't have to have buffs on the defender for MCoC Chavez to be phenomenal. Now, I think this Battlegrounds meta did have some power gain going on, which just accentuates, it's another reason, it's one of the many amazing things that MCoC Chavez does, because with that purple dimension, which is when you let the heavy finish, you get those charges of the purple dimension, but for each one, she's reducing ability power rate by 60%. That's correct. You actually, just with 2 of them up, are actually 120% reducing that ability power rate. It's amazing. And the additional stacks of the dimension just suffer a 15% duration. Okay, so they just get shorter, they don't get less potent or anything like that. All right, so now we're going to go in and fight this serpent, and you can see there's even power flood on this. They're putting buffs on us. It's just a node set, so this is really going to slow down really anyone, but it's gonna play into what Chavez is doing anyway against serpent. And she is one of the best options against serpent, and someone who doesn't remove any of his buffs. She just gets powered up by his buffs. You really want to make sure, and you can see I'm kind of cheesing this a little bit here, that you are letting your heavies finish. You want to get as many of your negative zones up as possible. The negative ones are the purple ones, so that way any of the power gain you've got handled. You can see the power flood. His power is actually going down right now. And then when you do send him immortal, and you know what he likes to do, right? He likes to be like, oh, you thought this game was fair? It is not fair. I am going to go red and SP3 and destroy you. You are handling that, because the power gain that's associated with his heal, with his immortality, does not happen. You have reversed it, and you control it, and you end up with scores like that with a rank 3 MCoC Chavez versus a rank 3 serpent over 50,000 points, and you win the Battlegrounds match, or you win the really difficult fight. okay? I know this is only a rank 5. You're like, dude, you're cheating with the rank 5 Ascended. It's still rank 5 Ascended Hulkling. If you go back a year, 12 months, this was something you saw, and I think this was a recent Battlegrounds meta, if I recall correctly. I think maybe it was even the Invade meta. I'm not sure, but I saw this Hulkling. And really, I learned to fight Hulkling, get very comfortable fighting Hulkling, because I used to take him all the time on the Rich Get Richer node in War. And what I'm going to show here, I think this Hulkling will survive long enough for us to do it. So let's see. One, you do want to keep up your purple dimension, but if you cancel your heavy into the second hit, 1, 2, nope, I'm going for the kill here. I went for the kill shot. Okay, so if you do the heavy, you cancel it into the first hit of the special 2, you get additional damage. You get, it's called, you deal an additional 5,000 damage on hit. Okay, so it's really nice and you can use it. But if you do it off the second one, and we'll show this, I've probably done it a couple times in this video, you actually regenerate hits. You regenerate 12% of the hit damage, which is really, really nice. So canceling the heavy, not at all, you get the purple one. After the first hit, you get additional damage if it's going into the SP2, or you light up the Utopian Imperial, which we'll talk about in the final fight. And after the second hit, you don't normally want to do that too much because it reflects 40% hit damage. It's more the defensive capability. Or if you do it off of the SP2, that's when you regenerate. And that's how, you know, if you've ever faced in Battlegrounds, you've seen someone they got hit somewhere in the Battlegrounds match, but they end at 100% health, they've used that SP2, okay? The other thing I'm showing you here is null. There's not a lot of high signals out there. There's just not. But the people who've done it and they invest in Battlegrounds, they start off with so many debuffs, and they're spec'd into inequity. I always get inequity and despair. I don't confuse them, I just misspeak a lot. They are reducing the damage you can do. Null is a really good defender because of this. And look, this is what I'm showing you. He being Null has literally no buff, so nothing charging up Chavez. And we're going up against all those debuffs and our reduced combat power rate. I'm sorry, and our reduced attack power. I'm still a little bit sick, guys, but I want to get these videos out. I'm having fun. Like, we're having a good time on this channel. And she goes in and still good enough to win. 48,000, well, 47.2, I guess. Good enough to win. That's what Battlegrounds is often about. So we've done a good job of talking about this, right? If you let the heavy finish, you get the purple dimension. That's helping you with all the really difficult ability power. The most brutal defender in the game, Serpent. She handles him. She's one of the best options. No, she's not Spiral, okay? But she's one of the best options. Anything with buff, she gets an attack rating increase. You don't need her awakened. If you get her awakened, you get all 3 of your dimensions up. You get your dimensions up by letting your heavy finish, by canceling after the first hit of the heavy, and canceling after the second hit of the heavy. And when you go into the SP2, if you want extra damage, you cancel out of the heavy on the first hit. If you want to heal a little bit, you cancel after the second hit. And if you want to go unblockable, and I've shown that in so many videos, America Chavez is by far my most video champion, I believe. You can go unblockable. I've used that in War to like save stuff, really fun stuff in like Battlegrounds. Really, really cool. So if you let your heavy finish and then you throw your special 2, you actually go unblockable. So you got it, right? This is giving her, the dimensions are doing all their own individual things. You're giving an attack range, you're even getting some nice energy resistance, okay? And then she, not as much anymore because science has come so far, but she can still be a menacing defender depending on how things are going. So now we're watching this fight, and I will tell you, I don't recall ever using her with this purpose in mind. And that is, if you're watching this, or you've been watching while I've been talking, I'm actually canceling out of the first hit of the heavy as much as I possibly can. And I said it kind of in an awkward way. Hopefully you kept watching the video here. But you can cancel out of the heavy with your striker, and that counts as canceling out with your special, okay? It does the same effect, which is really big boon to her. But I'm also canceling out of the first hit on heavy as much as I possibly can with the special, right? So watch, I'm sure I'm gonna bait out this, and we'll talk about how to specifically play this fight too, but I'm gonna bait this out because he's got the Energize. Chavez can't do anything about combat power. So I'm gonna heavy, cancel out with the first hit of the heavy, and now I've got up the orange dimension. And what the orange dimension does, it doesn't just do extra power off the SP2, but here's what it does. Let's see, yeah, I went for the SP2, so I should heal back a little bit, right? I let it hit twice, the heavy, through the SP2, I healed back a little bit. But the reason why I'm going for the orange dimension, it's called the Utopian Peril, is it reduces opponents' Fury, Armor Up, Precision, Pierce, and Cruelty buff potency by 70%. By the way, Pierce is because of me. I made that suggestion. This was back when Kabam would let CCP test buffs and stuff like that. They were the good old days, and I made that suggestion and they went with it. That was really, really cool. I appreciated them doing that. But what we're doing is we're reducing the furies of Thanos. You're going to see me mess up the evade at least a couple of times. And it shocked me how little damage the special one was doing to me. Because this is my third time going on doing this fight, right? This is my third path of the Wheel of Fate here. And I struggled against this Thanos. I did not have Jean Grey when I went and did it the first time. I definitely struggled, died a lot, I was sick, not feeling well. And I just was messing up the SP1 evade, but also he gets so many furies. It was doing so much damage. And then I watched Simula's guide for the third path, and he soloed with his Chavez. He's a great Chavez player too. And he's like, look, Chavez actually, there it is. You saw it right there. Look, I'm still at 94% health, and Thanos has 4 furies up. And he's like, I played it really slow. You can see I'm doing my best to not let Thanos get to his SP2. I'm just taking my time, which is allowing me to really know, am I going to have reverse controls or not? It's really difficult when Thanos switches from reverse controls to non to reverse controls in the middle of a special. But by canceling out of my heavy as much as I possibly could after the first hit, I'm doing my best to keep up the orange dimension, the Utopian Peril dimension, which is reducing the potency of those furies by 70%. And then remember, like I said, with the ability power rate, it also stacks. So this is how I've done this on accident a few times. It wasn't really on accident. I just wasn't necessarily trying. I've done this against Nick Fury sometimes with that massive fury of his. It's really opened my eyes into another way of playing Chavez, because, and we'll talk a little bit now about, like, is she still great? Yeah, yes. When I did my best Mystics, I have her in the highest tier. I just think Nico is the most meta relevant now, right? I think Chavez made the top 15. If not, she was just outside of it. I think she's arguably within the top 15 champions in the game, because it's not just the defenders, right? Like, as a way to break ties, I looked at the defenders and the biggest, baddest defenders and what they're asking out of us, and she's not very good for Dark Phoenix, right? Like, Dark Phoenix actually wants you to remove the buffs. Chavez doesn't do that. Deathless Thanos really negates one of Chavez's big things, which is a massive SP2 with the big burst to end fights, right? He's got all his protection stacks, things like that. But also, she can't remove his energize buff, which is increasing his combat power rate, meaning the power he gets from landing hits or from being hit. And Chavez can't do anything about that. Well, if you can take your time, like I'm doing in this fight, you can completely negate one of Thanos' biggest threats, which is those big furies he's getting. And so, yeah, in Battlegrounds, maybe she's fallen off a little bit, meaning like she went from the best Mystic in the game to like the third best, because she still has defensive power. But in everything else, in a lot of this game is not Battlegrounds. She's reducing that ability power rate is one of the biggest threats Kabam puts in the game on nodes and defenders, any tough questing content. She's still the absolute best at that. Nefaria's got a thing, and that's what's weird is, for me, and you tell me, if you've made this far in the video, let me know, where do you rank her in the Mystic class? And also, this is something I've been thinking about a lot, is there are champions that do not fit their class type very well. I kind of think of Guardian being like that. I think Venom being like that. There's these ones that kind of like stand out. And you know, I've talked about how amazing they are, despite like not being a hard counter to a lot of things. And I feel like Chavez is like that in many ways. To me, she feels almost like the combination of definitely a science champion handling all that ability power rate, and then there's like absurdly hard-hitting like skill champion or something. I don't even know. Maybe like a cosmic. It's really interesting to me. Is she still one of the best champions of the game? Absolutely. Is she one of the top probably 5 Mystic champions of the game? Absolutely. She just isn't handling Deathless Thanos and Dark Phoenix very well. In Battlegrounds, Dark Phoenix not very well at all. But outside of that, this gal is still at the top of her game. Let me know what you think I got right, what we think I got wrong, and if this was helpful to you. I really do hope it was. I enjoy doing this, and I found a way to do my first kind of like stocks falling video. I know people aren't really going to watch a video where I tell them their favorite champion isn't that good anymore, because that's not what I mean to do, but I know that's how it's going to come across if I do a stocks down thumbnail. So you let me know. Is that interesting to you, or is it like, dude, just stick with the ones that are moving up, because we like when you make us happy. Thank you so much for watching. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Take care.